A little program somebody wrote about half an hour ago. We showed them how to do it. They basically said, "Oh, I can do some sprites and make an animation quickly on a Spectrum," and they wrote this program.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty quick, really. And then we can also accelerate it up and down, slow it with the capability of the next. But the machine, when it starts, is just a standard Spectrum, so it looks exactly just a modern one. The core was developed by a couple of guys in Brazil, so now it's open sourced, being developed and future proofed as well by everybody else. So Henrique and Jim are really the front men for this sort of performance of a new Spectrum, really. So when you come into it, you get NextZ Exos introduction screens, which will give you how to use the machine. You press space to skip it, and it's very familiar to anybody who's used a 128K Spectrum. It's the same sort of thing. This machine also has the real-time clock fitted, so we get the time and date. It's just not standard, but you can add it. It's quite a simple addition. It's built-in functions for things like browser. So anybody who's used the ESX-DOS, it's very similar. And this is compatible with ESX-DOS as well.
Oh, yeah?
So you can run anything that's been written for ESX-DOS. So if I go into the games, for example, and I take Iana. Castlevania, yes, of course. So we go to Castlevania at the top, yeah, okay. So it's a tap file, so I enter it, it knows what to do. It says which mode do you want to know in the standard mode. It needs to use a 0 or 48K for compatibility. You can also, if you like, turn on the tape loading.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just do that for a moment, just for a little bit of a laugh, shall we say. So we put Castlevania into user 0 mode, and it's just like a real Spectrum.
Yes.
And it really is just like a real Spectrum at the same speed, as it plays the tap internally.
And the same time?
Same time, yes. Which is why I don't normally turn that on. But if you had a tape connector, you can plug it in and load it from tape as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we'll probably, just for the purposes of the tape, maybe we'll go straight back to turning off the option of doing that. So if we go into the games directory again, and you've got Castlevania, so I hit enter. It's off now, so it's going to be a little bit quicker if I go into 0. That should be a bit quicker to load.
Wow.
Yeah, it's obviously pausing at the loading screen. Job done. Off I go, and I'm into the game.
2015.
Yeah.
Game by... No, it's because 2 years ago, also in Spain, somebody released a new Castlevania for the Spectrum.
Right.
That was original one, taking the second one like a base and developed from there.
This is just one I found on the net, just because we tried anything we can find to make sure it runs any game, you know. So obviously the Next itself comes with a selection of legally licensed games, but these ones are just. If we go, hopefully. It needs chemistry.
Is that one? Is that one?
It's that one, yeah.
It's Spanish.
Yes, good.
I know the people who did one. Did.
There we go, and obviously it'll play fine now, yeah. So plays fine, no problem at all.
Yeah.
So you can pretty much use everything that's there from that environment of the last 10 years since the Spectrum was popular, and there's not a lot of games from the previous 10 years that doesn't work as well, that we've found anyway. So compatibility is very good, you know. So
this is a good example. That game game put the Spectrum. I know because I know the people who did the game.
Yeah.
And this game put the Spectrum to the maximum.
Yeah, there's a lot. The actual machine comes with a number of sample games as well, which are available in demonstrations. And of course, it's capable of doing a lot more than just. So certainly Warhawk, for example, if you haven't come across this game, this is the one Jim and Flash are doing. So you've got the old 48K loading screen. Hey, now the next can have a little bit better colours, you know. So, and actually the game can be quite interesting as well. So.
No look like a Spectrum, no?
No, it doesn't. Not at all. Hoping. It still feels like a Spectrum game.
No, not really. Not really. One
does.
Spectrum no moves like that, eh?
No, that's right. Because it's just got that. But it can do anything you like. It can be a Spectrum, it can be, and it's still a very modern, capable machine as well.
No, basically,
And it's still a Spectrum at core. This is still Z80 assembly language, you know?
yes.
Simple reset back into the machine to be able to play anything you like. What else have we got in the way of... one of the ones I particularly like that's being worked on for a while is Nextdoor. This is music composition software. So this supports the mouse, so I'll put it into 50 Hz mode. So I load a bit of the sample file on project. Because of course the Spectrums has a single AY3912 chip. Well, that provides you with only 3 channels. The Turbo Sound add-on gives you 6. So well, we've done both. You've got the standard AY plus the Turbo Sound, so you've got 9 channels of audio beauty. So off you go. You can now get a chip sound that really gives you a little bit of a... And this is full compositor software, so you can vary, manage the system completely from it.
Yeah.
There's lots of new software coming out for the Next. Really, you know, Warhawk, there's loads of games in development, Monkey McGee. People are really starting to use the newer features as well.
Yeah.
And of course, it'll have a little bit of a halo effect because the Spectrum, it's still a Spectrum underneath. So you're programming a lot of the same techniques. So a lot of the things you're learning would allow you to develop backwards onto other machines. Certainly all my development for the Spectrum, I still like writing Spectrum stuff. I use the Next for it because it's a Spectrum. And that still feels like a Spectrum underneath. But it can do so much more if you want it. Gary's really gone to town on this. It's on machine editing of music, nothing to touch it, much better than a tracker, very easy to use. Because you can edit the patches, slip them around, duplicate, cracking little bit of software. What else we got on there? So the standard assembly, I mean obviously this is my card, so it's got a few other things on it.
Yes.
So, but it's quite capable of using if we go into, for example, an old +3 disc image, so Professional Adventure Writer. So if I'm going to mount it on drive A, so I'm going to boot that +3 disc, yes please. And fairly soon we got Professional Adventure Writer from the 1980s. Yeah, running perfectly as it is on and of course still got it. So if we go into the select device, I can do a catalogue on the device and I will see what's in my directory on the disk quite happily. So any images are +3 discs, quite easy to use them. If you're going to do that, obviously you might actually want to use
It's a Spectrum. To be fair, I'm used to the back of the day.
and as I said, it's completely compatible with ESX-DOS. So this is the ESX-DOS version of Core,
Jesus Christ,
which is a more modern one.
he's
So
7.
if I go in, Core.bas. Oh,
Or Sweetie says that like not being
I'm missing the wrong one.
Back in the day, go to the shop for free. Cost you for good.
Did I miss something? Oh, ESX-DOS, there we go, ESX-DOS.
£2 will cost you for shit.
So this is the ESX-DOS version, which will run quite happily now, but that now natively supports the card. So you can do a catalogue here now. I'm actually looking at using the ESX-DOS command line to run catalogues. And you may have come across an adventure game from recently came out, Spanish 128K one called Hospital. They had a problem getting it running in the ESX-DOS, so I took a quick look for them. So if we load the Hospital database, so it's in, I'll test the game, don't want any diagnostics. So the game will run now, and you've got the full support, but it's actually now native to the ESX-DOS. This is running under Next ZXOS, which gives you a lot more facilities as well.
Yes.
You can actually run a real ESX-DOS on it if you want. If I go back to the...
No, but
Yeah.
you can run in the emulator.
Yeah, that's okay. Because when you boot it up, it can become pretty much any type of Spectrum that's been 48K. It can become the Investronica one. Basically you can pretty much
All of them, no?
All of them, yeah, pretty much. There isn't one. And the
One,
new ROMs.
80,
Yeah,
NES.
yeah. You've got a Soviet timing one to 8K for some of the demos as well.
2.
Plus 3E, which is Gary, the enhanced Plus 3 ROMs that Gary Lancaster originally did. This one is the Looking Glass ROM from Jeff Wearmouth. So this allows you to have the corrected 48K basic as well. So it's quite a clever extra ROM, but you've got a standard version of it as well, which is highly compatible. This is the one this is the core of the Next, I think. And of course it includes full Pharos 81 and 81, ZX80 and 81 emulators, so you can play P-type files for the 3D Monster Maze.
Yeah.
So it pretty much covers the gamut of the machines.
Everything.
Yeah, if I go up to the Spectrum 128, it's easy enough for me. Obviously I can't do much without a Div MMC, so if I turn that on, I've actually installed ESXDOS on this machine because it's mine. It doesn't come with it, but it's easy enough to install from the website. So when I boot into a 128K Spectrum now, the machine fairly quickly reconfigures itself as a 128, loads the 128 ROM, obviously ESXDOS runs, and I'm in user 0. I've got the NMI menu available to me, so
Wow.
yeah. So if I pretty much so that's Granilda. Yeah,
it's his PO1.
Another good one from Retroworks, obviously.
Literally 200 notes.
I seem to have a punch on for the Spanish games, I think, because they're real high quality. Yeah. So,
Brunilda. Los Amores de Brunilda.
all right.
Okay,
So beautiful little machine, can do pretty much anything you like. Easy to change between the functions.
What CPU have?
It's a Spartan 16, so it's an FPGA chip basically.
Programmable one.
Yeah, field programmable gate array. And a lot of people say, oh, that's just emulation. It isn't.